20,000 likes and I'll do 200 days. Also, you should go and follow my Twitter, link down in the description below. Everybody listen and no one gets hurt. Hand us the USB now. What? Hand us the USB now. What? This is going so bad. Not as bad as YouTube analytics saying that only 8% of you are... Can you guys please subscribe? I promise you'll enjoy my content. What are you, deaf? Hand us the USB now. Well, yes, actually I am deaf. I only know how to say what and the sentence explaining that I only know these two sentences. What? What? Yo, Captain, what's even on this USB? How Skies survived in hardcore modded Minecraft. Well, it started out with me on the main menu and creating a world. I know, very surprising. The seed I used for this world was something none of you would have expected, and then I created the world. I loaded in and immediately found a modded Enderman that really looked like he was enjoying my presence. But personally, I felt like he was coming on too strong and I wasn't ready for this relationship. So I just skipped away and found a village. Only issue was that this place had nothing in their chest for me to steal. I knew this was going to be difficult, but not this difficult. I also found the first villager, and this mod is looking pretty cool so far. I went to the village board, and my heart started beating insanely fast. I found a villager that wanted to do capitalism with me. I'm home. And I acquired some currency. You guys say I'm an amazing god tier builder, so I made a modern shack. I think it looks beautiful. I didn't want to diminish the quality of it, so I went back to the village and had a beautiful voice talk me to sleep. Next day, I watched this Enderman take on the village. I would like to think of myself as the great leader of this place that brought courage to them to fight it. Even the child is taking it on. I was incredibly proud of my work. Then, the 6-week-old fetus started talking about visiting Constantinople. So, that was weird. I knew my shack looked way too good and I didn't want to make you guys feel inferior, so I tore it down. Then, fought some alpacas that were looking at me weird, and this baby grew up from pure rage of losing its mother. Afterwards, I fell asleep in this no. The next day, this modded Enderman was fighting the village and killed all of the villagers. I couldn't stand for this, so I rushed in and fought the Enderman. I couldn't let this village die out. From the village board, it said they needed 69 sandstone, so I went and gathered sand, came back, and found out they didn't need it anymore. I love villagers. This was my lowest point in life. I fell asleep in the streets. After being embarrassed in the streets, I gathered some resources, made the outline to my base, and began mining. I worked on my base a little more and did more mining. Then this novice heard that I'm dummy thick and wouldn't leave me alone. Afterwards, I went to the village and saw this guy expanding this building.
Not Skies. Watch me build a beautiful structure.
Nah, absolutely not, and it's mediocre at best. Just gathered materials and built my house this day. After 6 days, I finally made it! My first chest. To celebrate, I went and did capitalism with the villagers, and then got organized. Day 7 was terrible. I was mining and then I found these useless blue rocks. To cheer myself up, I went and did capitalism with the villagers. I then had the displeasure of finding out that the female villagers had boobies. Yikes. Since I'm a natural-born sweetheart, I thought I'd be kind to the village and help them remove this annoying hill in the center of their village. While doing it though, I thought they were rushing to kill me. I terraformed their land a little bit to make it less annoying for me to travel over and do capitalism. Then I collected an unhealthy amount of wood. I would need a lot for my house. Also, I think I just killed the most passive Enderman ever. I just mined and found a cave this day. Lots of mining. I found this weird Enderman house and for some reason they didn't really like it how I dug into their wall. Not sure why. Afterwards, I wanted to go continue being kind, and I terraformed the village. I wanted an easier time walking around so I can scam them faster. While doing that though, this mouth breather came by and stole my sword. I quickly said hi to him and I got 2 swords back? I was getting bored and wanted to explore. I found this weird destroyed shack with some amazing loot. I found Rapunzel's tower and headed over there. Along the way, this strange dude was flexing on me hard while standing on one leg. I was incredibly intimidated, so I left him. And found his brother doing the same thing in front of this tower. To make up for them being intimidating, I decided to go and rob the tower. And wow, they had some absolutely insane god tier loot in here. Later down the tunnel, this troglodyte decided to steal my sword and try to eat my booty cheeks. My brain is too massive for my own good though, so I cheesed him and got 2 swords back. Next, nothing could prepare me for this. It was my absolute worst nightmare. A 9-month-old fetus with armor on trying to eat my kneecaps. Very scary.
Bro, please.
No,
Can I
no,
get a
no,
screenie?
no.
Please, bro.
No,
bro,
no, no, no,
screenie,
no, no,
please.
no. I then realized that this dungeon is haunted. While lighting it up, a ghost came by and smacked my poop chute. I knew I was in danger at this point, so I went and found a bedroom and hid in there. The next day down here, I played peekaboo with the locals, and they gave me presents. My inventory was full, so I ran back home and got organized. I terraformed the village and quite easily one-shotted the Enderman. The villager most definitely did not help me. To celebrate, I went and mined for the rest of the day. Day 16, I ran back to the dungeon and played Ooga Booga with some skeleton. I won, by the way. Then, it just consisted of me fighting skeletons, getting a creeper to do the dirty work and blow up the spawner, bullying a skeleton that was shorter than me, and then getting knocked down by a zombie and having to hide from him in the corner. Then, the spiders attempted to turn me into Spider-Man. After filling up my inventory again, I returned home, got organized, and had a successful mining session. The next day, I found an abandoned mine shaft and got absolutely scared from a skeleton jump scaring me. I took it like a man and didn't get scared. Then, a real bro of a creeper came by and helped me fight the mobs. Love the respect down here. I saw some tracks down here and ya boy just had to go and snatch them all up. Then the troglodyte came back and scared 19 years off of my life. After losing a quarter of my life, I returned home and got organized. Afterwards, I went out and contributed to global warming and tore down a forest. I made a chicken prison for capitalism and then began making a carrot farm to prepare for the pigs. Then, this Enderman came out of nowhere and wanted to check up on me. But for some reason, he came back when I was bringing the pigs over. I think he was attached to them. I later went and said hi to Technoblade. This is a joke, there's no beef between us. After being polite, I went mining. Day 22 and I finally made a diamond pickaxe with fortune and efficiency. Found some more blue rocks and got 13 from that vein. And immediately afterwards found another vein. My inventory was full, so I began to leave and got jump scared by another skeleton. Starting to hate skeletons a lot more than villagers. I returned home and got organized. Now, can you believe this? These absolute monsters. Like, just look at their buildings. Like, what is this? How is this a balcony? To cheer up, I threw an egg on an Enderman and went and said hi to a lot of Technoblades. I'm just trying to be polite, really. Then I got front row seats to the Kardashian showdown. I wanted more smoke, so I went back to the dungeon and I felt like I was at Disneyland. Some scary little child was chasing me and I felt very uncomfortable. I went and confronted the manager about the situation and he kept on repeating,
"This is the happiest place on earth, no sadness allowed."
So I listened to him and did a happy dance with him. He cheered me up, so I went back to exploring the dungeon. Then the skeleton had the absolute audacity of trying to 360 no-scope me. As if I didn't grow up with Modern Warfare 2 snipers only on Rust. Then I hit the scary part of the dungeon, and I noticed redstone traps were starting to appear. Sadly, my inventory was full, so I returned home and put everything away. I saw that there are backpacks in this mod pack, so I spent the rest of the day searching through the entire recipe book to find it. I never did. I wanted to go mine some more valuable gray diamonds, and then this random dude through the wall said that his brothers were very cold. Now, being the natural-born sweetheart that I am, I couldn't ignore this. So, I went and gave the first brother a blanket to help him warm up. I think he was pleased because he immediately fell asleep. Then, the second brother heard what I did and desperately wanted a blanket too. So, I gave him one and look at that! Another happy customer. The next day, I decided to become an ankle biter. I feel like it's a better career option than YouTube. I hope you all understand. A Disney Child monster thing came back and I was immediately flooded with bad memories. The two brothers came back and said that the blankets were making them hot, so I wanted to be a kind Samaritan and cool them off. Then this dummy doo-doo head zombie thought I was cold and punched me into the lava. Day 28, I was insanely unlucky and just kept finding useless diamonds. I found out the fun way that this village's school was terrible. Stay in school, kids. Afterwards, I terraformed the village a bit more and explored it. And the next day, I found another village. I missed a dungeon life, so I returned to it and went straight for the loot. I found a pretty cool iron sword in a room filled with skeleton heads. I went back to the redstone spot and this place was getting a lot more traps. I was on alert now. I looked closely and found out that the chests were trapped and guarded by a teleporting spooky man. Luckily, by breaking the chest, I was safe and stole all the valuables. I tore up the ground and found TNT. I was correct. So, I dug it all out and got 27 TNT. 5 blocks back and I found the world's greatest spawner. Super deadly. Didn't think I would make it. While teasing them, this wannabe Naruto teleporting dude came by, and he was spawning in silverfish. So, I very courageously retreated. Then, he teleported out of nowhere and didn't realize that my reaction time is god tier. After I dealt with him though, I accidentally fell down and all of his silverfish were asking for a screenie. After dealing with my new fans, I left and found out some of the Endermen are traitors. Probably won't ever use this, but cool to know. I also pranked this alpaca llama thing, but apparently it didn't matter that it was all faking for YouTube. After that confrontation, I explored the village since I haven't seen it in a while. Yo, bro, what? Dude, no, you can't breathe down there, bro. You need oxygen, dude, come up, you need air. Found a weird dude on a mountain the next day, and I began to explore around my base. You know what they say, jumping off a cliff without checking below and barely landing into water next to a skeleton with an enchanted bow a day keeps the doctor away. I also found this cool floating slime island, which also had bouncy blocks. Pretty fun. At night, I had this Enderman watch me rob his stash. Felt good. Over the hill, I found this Japanese village with an exorcism happening in the main hall. I tried to clean up the place, but there were a ton of mobs. I spent the night doing this. Day 33, I went exploring again, and I found the Thing of Nightmares. Dude moves so fast I thought I was in an anime. Then, I found a double dungeon. Kinda sick. So, I fell asleep in the brick house one. Now, I'm no medical scientist, but I think this cake is insanely sketchy. Didn't feel right. Nothing special happened in this dungeon. I just got some loot, filled up my inventory, and then went back and waited patiently to fall asleep. Fell off of a cliff the next day and got jump scared by an ender freak. Then, did a healthy jump into water and made it home. I think my dungeon bed collection is coming along nicely. Oh, and I figured out I needed the dirt from the floating islands to plant these trees. Wish I knew that. I went mining and found some redstone. Then, almost walked straight into lava. Also, had some weirdo come over to my house. Day 37 and I went back to the double dungeon spot. Along the way there, I spotted this absolute unit of a behemoth. Don't worry ladies, I'm pretty sure he was 6 feet tall. Then I entered the brick house dungeon and it was all going well, but I ran out of torches and had to run back to the top. Your boy had to act like Internet Explorer and go choppy choppy. I was going to turn this wood into charcoal for some torches, and back into the dungeon I go. I found this yard sale in the dungeon and got some free items. I found this useless box thing in a chest. Never used one before. I also played peekaboo with this absolute cutie down in the dungeon. I think she likes me. Then some Hollywood comedy level stuff happened. I was lighting up the dungeon and tried to run past all the mobs. Then this creeper thing decided to see how lucky I am and I went to half a heart. Not even close, baby. Also found this shooty boss boy and a mending book. Pure gold right there. Then I played peekaboo with that girl skeleton again, but she brought her friend. Was kinda weird, won't lie. Oh, and I teased the locals about being trapped behind a wall. I got the last bit of loot and began to run back, but this troglodyte chased me. I hit him twice, and I think he was mentally rebooting or something? He just stood there. I felt bad for him. Also, found out that zombies can't walk through doors. My inventory was full, so I returned home and almost got killed by a spider and creeper combo. I was planting my crops, then a sneaky boy nearly blew up my massive farm. I used a speed potion and ran back to the dungeon. I gathered up the rest of the loot from the double chest, and bullied my chickens. They needed to learn their place. Next morning, I skipped happily to do some capitalism. Afterwards, I went and said hi to Technoblade for the rest of the day. At night, I found a village and some Ooga Booga in a house. Scared the life out of me. Oh, and the Ooga Booga entered my house. Next day, I just ran to the dungeon again and slept in the brick house dungeon. I went to the floating castle dungeon and began to build a staircase up to it. Upon reaching the top, this block decided to act like my father and disappear. Then, once I landed, I realized I most definitely have plot armor. I went back up to see what went wrong, and the dungeon apparently has an aura that deletes blocks. Fun! I also found a village behind it. Nothing special. I realized I needed ender pearls to enter these dungeons, so I returned home. I had to fight the urge to steal the Japanese flag. Won't lie. I then ran back to the dungeon with some ender pearls and pearled in. Also, my computer froze, so I got scared. The enemies nearly shot me off too. Also, couldn't steal their flag. I can't break blocks in these dungeons too. Then it consisted of me fighting some zombies who got me pretty low, but wasn't even close. Also, got surprised around a corner from a zombie. Then the Three Stooges picked a fight with me and got me insanely low, but one of the zombies luckily held them back for me. Then I fell asleep in one of their hotels. I went back to my hotel room after leaving and yo, this is my room step, bro. I'm not one to judge, but I feel like this guy is compensating for something. Afterwards, I began to work my way over to the other floating castle platform thing. Then this thing had the audacity to almost shoot me off the edge. Oh, and I found a gun. Then I made the mistake of going down into the basement. Saw the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles down there. Very scary. Obviously though, I kept on bugging them, but the boss came out to stop me. Now the real game begins. I wanted to be cool, so I ran around a corner and watched a shot fly past me. Felt like I was in the movies. He then chased me while doing some Ooga Booga type beat, and found out I had to destroy this icy lantern thing to get rid of his shield. He didn't appreciate that at all, so he spawned in some zombies to tickle me. I led the zombies in and boom, teleport trick. I'm too good, I know. This fool, look at him. He walked off the edge. I could never. My castle now, loser. I stole some good diamond boots from him too. I overheard this zombie crying about how he wanted to meet the floor, so I gently pushed him off so he can go and meet it. To assert dominance, I fell asleep in my new castle. Now with the castle being all mine, I continued on with it and took out zombies. Also, Big Earl is insanely weak for someone being so yoked. I teleported down to the Lich and they didn't hear me? I witnessed a zombie giving birth to mini mouth breathers. Scared me to my core. The Lich was having a crybaby fit that I stole his castle, so he blocked me from destroying his icy lantern. But I have such a high IQ that I went behind him and destroyed it. He finally snapped out of it and wow. Oh, he is really easy without his entire armada of zombies. Then I was about to kill him, but he just had to pull a skies and heal. He thinks he has plot armor too. Unlucky for the fool, he doesn't. And I finally beat the dungeon. He dropped some cursed bone and it would let me spawn in a zombie. Oh, and some nice books. I then spawned in a zombie. I said I spawned in a zombie. And just look at him. Look how adorable he is. I found a new friend. Oh, and I made sure to go back and steal those flags. Also, stole a bed then went to sleep. Now, would you look at all these beds? I have so many choices. I'm in heaven. I found out that these oak tables can hold items, which is kinda cool. So I stole them all. I kept hearing the zombie in the castle grounds, so I dug down and found another room with loot, which had some nice modded items for me. I reorganized my inventory and ended up with this for the run back to my house, which I did a sick jump along the way, if I do say so myself. Got hit with drugs and then this booger wouldn't get in the pool with me. Made me feel like a fool. So, I had to say hi to her and she gave me a Silk Touch book, and my dungeon bed collection is coming along nicely. I decorated my house with the fallen flags, and I think I look dope with the shield and sword. To celebrate the dungeon victory, I went mining and found a lot of cobblestone. I went and explored the village since I haven't seen it in a while. A lot has changed. Then this chicken was looking at me seductively on a bed. I didn't know how to respond, so I left. Also found out that I can make leads, so I abducted some cows. I finished the farm the next day and farmed up some wheat for the cows. Then I terraformed the village afterwards. Threw an egg at a chicken and found an Enderman village. Somehow, none of them attacked me. Then this dude decided to play Naruto with me and he kept on teleporting away from me. For some reason, he didn't want me to make his health reach 0. Then he finally stopped teleporting and I said hi to him. Then I may or may not have fallen asleep in the same bed as a guy. Who knows though? Then in the morning, he said hi to me. After that, I went to another dungeon and found some nice loot. Also, found some skeletons freaking out that I was coming. Still getting used to the fame in this dungeon. Also, I have the world's fastest reaction time. Booger almost snuck up on me. Next, I found a redstone room and most definitely didn't take anything from it. It just all randomly disappeared. Also, found a mouth breather. I think he was trying to cook something, but I wasn't hungry. Also, stole some hoppers. Apparently this chest is super protected. 2 different Endermen kept coming at me while I was trying to loot it. What are you looking at, bub? Went back home and added to my dungeon bed collection, then found a better way to mine for stone from this man. Wish I knew this earlier. After that teaching lesson, I found this bandit outpost, and they welcomed me with open arms. It said they were all trying to give me gifts. I was eating and I think they got the gifts wrong. They kept sending me arrows for some reason. I went inside and tried to eat in there, but they had something against pork. I ran up their tower and watched them try to figure out how to climb the ladders that they built. Makes sense. Then, after saying hi to them, they dropped an insane amount of arrows, and finished this little outpost dungeon fight thing. I respected their homes and didn't take anything at all, but I noticed that I didn't have a bed, so I went and politely got some wool and then fell asleep. I went through chicken heaven and found a dungeon. I found something I've never seen before, an invisible spider. Neato. I explored a bit more but didn't take anything, and then went home and got organized. Went exploring again and found a baby Enderman, kinda cute. Then robbed the Enderman family of every single thing worth value from them, but I didn't do it happily. I explored some more, found a Breakhouse dungeon, and slept in it. I explored a little bit of the dungeon, but honestly, didn't feel like going too far into it. Found a 2-headed boogie monster on land, and I fought it very fairly and bravely. Thank you. And found a very flourishing village shortly after. I continued to explore and I found this tiny castle-looking place. A lot of iron-armored guys rushed out. I used 0.3% of my power and blocked an arrow with my mind, then continued to fight them very bravely and manly, by running up and hitting them with my sword. Once I said hi to them all, I stole all of their arrows. I went to loot the place, but it only had this one. Like, literally, every chest was empty. So, I left kinda sad, and parkoured all the way back home with no problems. Added to my anvil collection, and stole some obsidian from the Enderman. I don't think they'll miss it. I made the nether portal and went straight in. It was an okay spawn, not too bad. I said hi to a stuck ghast and found out that 1.12.2 is a lot easier to hit fire charges than 1.16. I found a cool magma cube island. Didn't go down there, but it was cool. For this next clip, I'm just gonna keep on talking because you guys need to see this entire thing. I even surprised myself with surviving. I shouldn't have. I was trying to get back to my portal, so I dug into the mountain, and of course, the lava had to be right there. And I survived. Wasn't even close. For obvious reasons, I returned home. I wanted to tell the chickens how much I love them, man. They bit my ankles, almost killing me. Kind of surprised me there. It's like they're angry about their living situation or something. SMH my head. To cheer me up, I went and did capitalism. I'm outgrowing my home, so I worked on expanding it. Just worked on my house this day, which continued on to this day. I finished the house and began making my rainbow bed. Since I collected so many colors, I figured why not, and began organizing my chests. Continued getting organized and then the disappearing wand disappeared on me. Not too surprised, and found out the perks of multiple beds. I had a weird stalker come into my house, and I was kind of intrigued with what it did. Apparently, it makes you blind and act scary because it doesn't like getting hit. The loser then teleported outside my house, and I teased him. Then Technoblade held him back from me, and I finally said hi to the stalker. I got a teleportation wand from it. Probably won't ever use it. I did capitalism to celebrate. I went mining for XP, and it really wasn't going well. I also found 4 diamonds, and my Fortune 2 pick only gave me 4 diamonds from it. I live in Spain, but without the S. I did manage to put mending on my pick though. I really need to get diamond gear now, and I need some obsidian to make the enchanting table. With it crafted, I would need bookshelves, and thank you village for being useful. Except I didn't buy enough and I need more money for it. So I sold a few blocks and bought all their bookshelves and some books. But luckily it was just enough and I finished the enchanting room. But now I need to make an XP farm, so I made a cobblestone generator since I ran out of them. I worked on the cobblestone generator and barely finished it before the day was over. I spent the remaining time farming cobblestone. I just farmed cobblestone this day. And on day 71, I began to build the chute of my mob grinder. For this build, it would have some redstone in it so I could push the mobs down with water buckets. Fancy, I know. On 72, I built the frame of the mob grinder and then filled it all in. I put stairs on the edge since that's what the tutorial said to do, and built up the walls and the platforms the water would go on. I ran out of gray diamonds, so I farmed this day. Of course though, the replay mod didn't save the rest of the recordings, so no pretty time lapses. I just worked on crafting the redstone part of this and adding it to the building. Nothing special. On day 75, I set up all the redstone, connected all the dispensers, and filled them with water. I put the roof on this bad boy and turned it on. I don't think it works. It's like if a neurosurgeon was blind. Something's wrong. Then I thought it was working since these things were falling, but nope, it definitely doesn't work. I built it too low to the ground. I'm just gonna build an Enderman farm. To cheer me up, I went and collected a couple bankrolls. Nothing crazy. I also noticed that this farmer let out his sheep somehow, then bred them through a wall? Magic. I began to push sheep down this hole. There was an Enderman down there, man. I figured he would want sacrifices. Also pushed down a mom and dad with the child. Figured he'd want a family, but turns out he doesn't, so he went and attacked a villager. I one-shotted the thing though, I'm just too strong. Now for something sad. All of their chests are locked. I can't rob them. This world just brings me pain. But then I saw this window that brought me happiness. Oh, and this half-door thing. Pretty sure it was magic. And I spawned a baby chicken by smashing it on a sheep's forehead. I decided to conquer my one and only fear, and went back to the nether. I needed to find another fortress. Did some insane parkour along the way, and I'm very positive I just found the shortest lived ghast ever. After a few minutes, I found the fortress, and I'm off to an amazing start. I went around exploring the fortress, as one would, but then I ran into the legendary boss, Neelis, the Wandering Nightmare. The boss every single Minecraft player knows. I've heard tales and YouTube videos about how he's destroyed so many people. I was scared. Oh, never mind. I killed him in 4 hits. I wanted to experience a Mission Impossible movie, so I felt insanely cool at this part. And then I finally found the massive opening and my lovely Woodle Boise Wazy spawner. It went incredibly smooth. I then ate this pig's brother right in front of him, and wanted to see what enchanted books he'd drop. This dude almost killed me in 1 hit. I think it's time to leave. Now I'm in trouble. While beating his goons, his booger breath son came and tried to take me out, but I said hi to him and got rid of him in 1 hit. Never missed. And killed the abomination in 3 arrow hits. And not worth it at all. Terrible books. After that, I began to parkour on my way home. Made it back home, made some eye of enders, and destroyed another forest. I needed more wood. I got prepared and headed off to the inn, except I got distracted in the village on the way there and couldn't stop killing pigs. It was getting so bad that I continued on this day too. I just couldn't stop. I kept on farming them all day and ended up with around 4 stacks of raw pork. Then, through the rampage, I found some dispensers with rockets on them. I rapid fired them off a bit while a pig watched me. I was curious about this, so I dug down and fell into the redstone room of a dungeon. Of course though, I respected the place and didn't take anything. After that, I quickly explored a little bit of the dungeon. The next day, I went for the end fortress place, and found it relatively fast, but then found out that it's in a ravine. I feel like I'm gonna have bad luck. I started to explore it and was put up against 3 super deadly endermen. Very close fight. I started to find areas that were incredibly badly spawned in. Everything was looking glitchy. I explored so long that I ran out of torches, and I still couldn't find the portal room. Found another enderman though, and kept on exploring. I gave up the next day and decided to leave. I don't think a portal room spawned here, so I just ran home. Along the way though, I had a major headache. Not sure why. Also, I found the skeleton horse that spawns on other skeletons to kill you, but I didn't feel like doing another fight. I can't handle any more wins. And made it home. I put everything away and began to head to a different end fortress place thing. Also, did some sick jumps along the way there. While doing my insanely sick parkours, I found this weird floating ship. Once I saw the rainbow parrot, I knew I was in trouble. This ship was bad news, but I'd need some ender pearls to get on it, so I went searching. Explored a dungeon, but it didn't have any mobs. Then I found this village and this alpaca llama thing just... I had to do it. He was seriously asking for it. He wanted the old 1-2. After that fight, I went to another dungeon and got 37 years of my life scared off. But I at least got another ender pearl out of it, so I think it was worth it. So I returned to the ship. So here's an overview of the ship. The boss is in the glass section, but I want to clear out all the pirates first. I'm thinking of making the ship into my home, or at least one of them. And now for one of the hardest dungeons I've done so far. Let's begin. I took out the first guy as fast as I could. Afterwards, I took out his 2 buddies above and did a nice finishing move on the last guy. Then it was time to climb up the ladder to my future home. I peeked up, nope, I'm good. Homie's already pointing a gun at my face. So I played peekaboo with them. Then Pika surprised him with a bigger gun. Bow. Now pull the trigger. The trigger. Bro, the trigger. Pull the trigger. Make the bullet leave the barrel. It's simple. Bro, come on. Okay, maybe you'll understand. Pull the trigger. See, he knows how to do it. Then I got a sneak peek at my future fan meetups. Kinda scary. And they immediately noticed me since I'm tall and they rushed over. They didn't even get me low though, kinda disappointing. So, I slapped them all up and carried on. This mouth breather heard that I had plot armor on, and wanted to test it out. I might have seemed worried, but I promise you all, I wasn't even sweating. I actually had my monitor off. I had to heal up on the ladder, then I showed them why bows are stronger than guns. Everybody knows that. Then just finished the day off with clearing some more of the top deck. The next day I saw a pirate chilling on the wing, and I thought pirates don't chill, so I forced him to walk the plank. On the other wing, I asked if the pirate wanted to beat hardcore Minecraft with me, and he ran off the edge. So, I'll take that as a yes, smiley face. I had to give a lesson to the first mates. You should probably not bring a sword to a bow fight. Kinda doesn't work out well for you. And stole their nice loot, which also had a nice diamond sword. I went to the crow's nest to see what's up here, man. I guess the pirates didn't like me going Gucci Gucci Goo and tickling their feet. Did I say pirates? I meant stormtroopers. I've never seen someone miss so many point blank shots. I beat them both really easily, man. Just look. Even I'm embarrassed about those arrows. This dude right here should have taught the crow's nest stormtroopers. I've never seen someone fire so fast. Now, you can't tell me this dude ain't compensating for something. Like, just look at him. He can't even hit me and that thing is like, what, 29 feet long? Then I found him. This abomination couldn't even look at me. I don't know if I want this place as my home anymore. Also, for some reason, pirates can't go through doors. Even though they made them. Makes sense. And then I found his brother. They're all compensating for something. I know it. I also got a jump boost from the other pirate's potion. Kinda don't want it. Makes critting hard. I was waiting for them to come down the hallway, but then figured something was wrong, so I turned around and lost 21 years off of my life. This penguin's been through a lot. I snuck up on a dude writing in his diary, and he didn't like it. He kept on getting me kinda low. He told me his plot armor was better than mine, so I used 0.9% of my power and took him down. Afterwards, I most definitely read his diary and didn't skip through any of it at all. He basically wrote how his wife left him while he was away, and he can't meet any girls while pillaging villages. Then he finds an orc girl that he likes and he traps her on the ship. Also, his crewmates keep making fun of him for writing in a diary, blah blah blah. Not important. What is important is that I can't find the boss. Anywhere. At all. Like I looked everywhere multiple times and I can't find him. He's like a father to me. I finally found him the next day, and he was down on the ship I came up in. For some reason, I guess he handed the ship's rights to me. And then I beat him in a very fair fight. Was super close. Then there was the rainbow parrot. I quickly rushed out and gathered seeds. I wanted this bird. I went back and found him doing a rain dance on the ladder. And luckily, I got him. You have no idea how happy this made me. I went back and looted some chests that weren't reachable before, and it had some great loot. Also, got this bear claw climbing thing. I filled up my inventory with as much items as it would hold, and jumped. Time to head back home. After saving a village and being a hero, I made it back and emptied my inventory. Once I was all done, I went back to the pirate ship. I think the other end fortress place is near it. Threw the Gushi orb and went and found the location of the fortress, and entered it. I then became very worried again, since this one, of course, is also in a ravine. After searching for a few seconds though, I found it, luckily. And I barely had the correct amount of Eye of Enders to make the portal. I wanted to explore some more, so I found this teleporting skeleton and creeper combo. Thought it'd be worse. I found some pretty good enchantment books in this double library place, and then explored a bit and saw some jumping skeletons of doom. Very frightful. I did a sick 360 and entered the inn. Was welcomed by a rat too. I found that this 1.12.2 Ender Dragon was a lot more aggressive and difficult than the 1.16 Ender Dragon. She would constantly rush me and try to prevent me from destroying the crystals. I had a lot of low health moments. She heard how penguins can't fly, so she wanted me to experience it. Was pretty cool. And finally, after fighting over destroying the last crystal, it was time to just arrow this dragon down. I didn't want to fight her with melee weapons. She also gets slowed down a lot if you shoot her. I was nearly out of armor by the end of this fight, but with my Navy SEAL sniper training, I took her out with a nice finisher. The Endermen who were chasing her came after me though, and I accidentally hit the wrong Enderman while backing up. I had a pearl out, got to half a heart, and didn't even chance staying. I went back home happily. I made some diamond armor parts, got prepared, and ran back to the End Fortress portal place thing. I was feeling magical, so I did a swan dive and then did another 360 into the end portal, and collected all the XP I left behind. Afterwards, I went into the end city portal, and there was a tower right next to my portal. It had some pretty nice loot, and this amazing pickaxe. After the looting, I just explored it a bit more. Nothing really special happened. I farmed some Endermen the next day for some more pearls. I found another fortress, but it didn't have any loot, so I just farmed the shulkers. Afterwards, I found another fortress and farmed up the shulkers inside. Except this one actually had some loot, which wasn't the worst. And to all of your surprise, I found a third fortress. But this one had a boat, so I happily towered up to it instead of taking on the fortress. I got the elytra and the achievement that's named after me. Oh, and a pickaxe with nice enchantments. And I stole the dragon head. I thought about taking on the fortress right next to the boat, then immediately regretted that decision after seeing a special shulker with hurtful attacks. It's like he wanted to kill me or something. So, I flew back to the portal and zoomed in like an X-15 fighter jet. I had a silk touch pickaxe, but apparently the dragon egg doesn't like the feeling of silk. Kinda weird, so I left it there instead of chancing losing it. Then I just got organized. I want mending books, and apparently a lectern doesn't exist in this version. So I flew back to the real village place, and luckily there was a librarian there. Hopefully he can give me mending down the line. I put him in a very comfortable mansion. Didn't want him to die. And I focused on making a paper farm. I wanted to go exploring for the last day, man, started tearing down a slime island. But then I remember I never showed you guys one of the mods in this mod pack. I gathered flowers and threw a diamond into the water, and boom! I was whisked away romantically to the Twilight Forest. Another realm where the game is completely different. Also, found the skeleton playing on Internet Explorer. Felt bad for him. There's some cute mobs here, man. It's an awesome realm to explore, but that'll be for the next episode. I finished preparing for the next episode and watched the sunset to end this off on. This video took a few weeks to record and edit. I hope you all enjoyed it. I would ask for challenges, but I still have so much to do before I accept challenges from you guys. Also, thank you Sierra for creating this mod pack and letting me modify the mod pack. I hope you're all excited for the 200 days video.